Hemos perdido a la...
I'm here, I just need to run and grab something. We've been celebrating a great many things this weekend at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. We've been celebrating 25 years of this fabulous facility, which opened in 1999. We've been celebrating, more importantly though, the return of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series after the 6-month absence. This is round 1 of the season. And this is a very, very full grid. The most important thing is that we celebrate the return of the EuroNASCAR fans to our paddock after many months away. Of course, we've all been eagerly anticipating this new season of EuroNASCAR. And yesterday, we finally got the season started. And we got it started with a spectacular, action-packed and very, very dramatic season opener. It was Vittorio Garelli that took the win yesterday in circumstances that he wouldn't have anticipated. He was our pole sitter yesterday. We were expecting him to run away with the race, but he did not run away with it. However, his rivals came up short. Vittorio Garelli is our points leader, as you can see. Paul Giuffreau just 1 point back from him. Giuffreau, who finished 15th, or started 15th yesterday, and managed to work his way up into 3rd position. That's why he's just 1 point back from Garelli. He managed to score a haul of points for making up the most positions of anyone yesterday. Lasser 3rd in the points. Goossens, Erkeli Delso, Tefel, Lemarie, Siortzis and Chrysonis there at the sharp end of the championship as well.
Check 1, 2,
It's
check
a
1,
very, very interesting time for the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Then that man we saw, Vittorio Garelli, is down there with Andre. Of course, he is now a PK Car Sport driver and our championship leader.
Vittorio, yeah, I'm ready too. No problem. But keep signing, no problem at all. So how are you feeling before this second race today?
Yeah, it's nice and warm, I have to say. Yeah, it will be hot in the car, but quite confident. The warm-up was very, very good. We're doing a very good job with the team, supercar, so I can drive very fast every time. So confident that we can do a good race.
All right, I leave you alone now because there are many fans lining up for some autographs, so I don't want to disturb you anymore.
Have fun. It's always nice to be here. Have fun, guys.
Always a hot signature in the paddock, isn't he, Vittorio Garelli? Of course, this circuit, we've heard a lot about the temperature already, but the circuit itself is a very, very physical track, 2.5 miles in length, 14 corners, and it's a circuit that certainly demands a lot of our drivers. We can have a look at the track map now from above. Here is the facility, the Circuit Ricardo Tormo, and not much room for rest during this lap. Of course, you've got that long straight from the last turn down to turn 1, but other than that, you're always seesawing at the wheel in these EuroNASCAR machines. The drivers go through a lot at the wheel of these cars, especially around this circuit, and the temperatures have been very, very warm this weekend. Among the suite of improvements made to the cars over the winter months has been that roof scoop that you see on the cars as you go through the grid, and that has been designed, of course, to try and funnel some cool air into the cockpits of these cars, and that is all important, especially this weekend. You can see the heat just radiating off the cars and the thousands upon thousands of fans that we've got here. Tobias Dowenhower will be looking for a better run of form this time. He is with Andre.
All right, I just need to check how to get to Tobias right now. A lot of fans are waiting for photographs and autographs here right now. Amazing grid walk, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's so good for us drivers to see a lot of fans here. Nice weather. I think it will be a nice race, and looking forward.
Any special things you have to say about the 99 car? Saw some troubles again in the EuroNASCAR 2 race?
Yeah, I think everything is fine. The team worked very hard, and the car should be good now. Hopefully it will stay until the end, but yeah, looking forward, and I think it will be nice battles during this nice weather here.
Yeah, in EuroNASCAR Pro Round 1 he missed 8 kilometers to win, so let's see what's going on today.
Yeah, yesterday he was our race leader from turn 1 until 2 laps from home. That's the 8 kilometers that Andre references there. So close to taking the win for promotion yesterday, and he'll be looking to right the wrongs of the Saturday race in this Sunday edition. There you can see the countdown to command, just over 26 minutes until the most famous words in motorsport are called out here, and we will very much look forward to that. But for now, let's go back down to Andre.
I'm here with Chad Ziegler, the Vice President of NASCAR International. Good to have you here again.
Good to see you again, yes. Excited to be here.
Yeah, how do you like it so far?
Oh, I love it. It's you couldn't open the season at a better venue than this. The weather is great, huge crowd. Look behind us. But yeah, super excited to get the season started.
I've heard that the contract with Valencia was renewed, so we're going to be here for 5 more years, right?
5 more years of opening the season in this weather, so I plan on seeing you again here. But no, it's exciting. Anytime you come to a venue like this, great partners at the track, and you notice it from the minute you walk in the venue. It's a lot of activities. For us at NASCAR, you see a lot of families, kids getting exposed to NASCAR, so really excited.
I know that a lot of Americans also watching us, so can you compare a EuroNASCAR event to a US NASCAR NASCAR event?
It's very similar. For any of the people watching in the U.S. right now, I would say you can come to an event in the Euro Series, and it's going to feel like you were in Charlotte or you're in Daytona. It's the passion for motorsports, a passionate crowd, and a crowd that loves our style of racing. So that's why it's been so successful, not just here, but throughout this series. Whether it's here, or whether it's Brands Hatch, or whether it's most, there's crowds that are constantly coming to watch, which we love.
All right, thank you so much and enjoy the event.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thank you so much.
I imagine that potentially Chad, but certainly a few people from the wider NASCAR community globally will be with us, particularly in the end of June when we head to Venray, an oval race in EuroNASCAR for the first time since 2019. That is going to be very exciting. Chad Siegler, a big part of working with the EuroNASCAR organisers to make sure we always have the most exciting calendar and promotion, and this June is going to be very, very exciting with two events in the same calendar month. The always spectacular American Speed Fest Round 3 of the season, and then of course we do head over to the Oval at Venray. That is going to be a blockbuster month of races, and of course we have the very, very atmospheric Vallelunga to head to before we head to the UK as well. It's a very, very hot opener to the season, and look at that, NASCAR tattoos. I want to know if that's a genuine article or not. That's brilliant. Liam Hazemans is down there as well. We saw him just chatting to Andre Viegold. I suspect that in a couple of seconds' time, we're going to go down and speak to Hollywood Liam Hazemans.
Have you seen something like this before?
No.
Yeah, last year, right?
Yeah, last year, apparently. No, but really cool, huh? You see, we have real NASCAR fans, I see. They even put a tattoo on their arm, so it's cool, it's nice.
Are you feeling today?
Yeah, very good. Actually, we made some little changes to the car, so I think it's much better now for in the race. But yeah, just maybe the 24 a bit like too quick for everyone else because he's a bit on the apart league today. But yeah, definitely P2, maybe P1 if with a bit of luck, but it's definitely possible, so we'll see.
Gil Insta proved that the car's really fast, right?
Yeah, exactly. That was like an awesome job for Gil, definitely. I mean, he just fully controlled the race from start to finish, so really happy for him. And yeah, I hope he brings me the same luck to me then.
All right, thank you so much. Have fun. Thank you.
So there you go. Liam Hazemans starting from row 2, and it looks like he might be starting from row 2 on his own. We don't yet have Sebastian Bleekemolen there as scheduled. Bleekemolen was meant to be starting from 4th position, but you'll remember his car had an issue that took him out of the race yesterday, and then Melvin de Groot had a problem as well during the EuroNASCAR 2 race this morning. So hopefully they're just repairing that car and it will get to race, but I don't know if Sebastian Bleekemolen is actually going to make it out onto the circuit. We have, of course, got Liam Hazemans there on the 2nd row, and on row 3 of the grid, P5, is that man Paul Giffreau. As you just see, he's signing anything he can find at the moment, Andre. He's a busy, busy boy, isn't he? But I mean, just tell me about how many signatures are these guys doing?
I'm just trying to check, but I think we get a photo right now. I'm just crossing over the microphone very quick. Do you feel like a rock star right now?
Yeah, there is plenty of people there. I think it's because I'm the only Valenciano guy here, but yeah, it's amazing. I didn't stop since since I'm here. I'm signing and taking photos, so that feels really nice. It puts out some pressure, and yeah, I'm feeling free, and I will do the best race possible.
All right, continue, please.
Considers this place to be a home, certainly. Carries the Valencian flag with pride alongside his French flag. What an awesome experience this is to just see so many fans, everyone busy signing and meeting and greeting our fans from both the EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2 grids. The EuroNASCAR 2 drivers, a few of them will have stayed there to meet people. There's Ariana Casoli, a great example of that. She, of course, racing in EuroNASCAR 2 in the number 14 Speedhouse entry. And great to see her chatting it up with various fans there. She'll be an inspiration to a great many females wanting to potentially compete in EuroNASCAR in the immediate future, or indeed many years down the line. Just over 20 minutes until the countdown then. And Andre, who have you got now, and how many people are you going to have to fight to get to them?
Yeah, I'm not the tallest guy, so it's quite hard to get through here. Thomas, really quickly, how do you enjoying this event so far?
Yeah, it's wonderful. A lot of people. Yeah, a good event. Weather perfect. Now we will see the race.
How does it feel like as a driver to have so many people approaching for autographs, photos, and stuff like this? Come on, it must feel like being a rock star, right?
Yeah, it's so cool. And we see also that the kids have so pleasure. So that's a nice thing, and that's nice in this championship.
Perfect. So keep on doing your job, and we see you later.
Thank you. Bye.
I remember doing this exact autograph hunt at Brands Hatch all the way back in 2012. That was before EuroNASCAR was even part of an American Speedfest. That didn't exist yet. That year they were on the DTM support bill. And I remember there being a little bit of an autograph session to catch up with everybody. How the events of EuroNASCAR have evolved since then. You saw there Ryan Vargas, of course, the US-based racer. He lines up a little way down the grid this time. He will start 18th, so he's going to have some work to do. The California native, we'll see how high up the order he can go. He might well get into the top 10 from there. He had to work his way from well past 20th place yesterday after a moment in the first corner of the race. Got caught up in someone else's incident. So from 18th, he could still find his way into that top 10 for certain. As the 43 car, Riccardo Romagnoli, there with his team, the Club Motorsport entry. Interesting that he's gone to the 43 this year. Is he maybe trying to summon some petty magic? Some of the fans starting to vacate the grid walk then. Incredible how many people there are here today at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. It's a very busy paddock. I think you saw Andre really isn't the tallest guy, because that was a very large man that walked past him. We saw on camera there. Sorry, mate. I don't know if that was a basketballer or something. So then, who have we got there? That's I think Mario Ercoli, the younger brother to Gianmarco. He's the only EuroNASCAR 2 driver that I've seen still in his gear, so he's committed to the bit. Gianluca is still in his gear, but thankfully it's not his Nomex race suit. Let's speak to Gianluca Giulia for the first time on a stream for a good couple of years.
Yeah, that's right. Gianluca, the PR manager of the EuroNASCAR, the amazing grid work now done. How does it feel?
It feels incredible. Every time we start the season, it's been a long time now, more than 10 years, and every time is just that feeling. The first day of school is coming, and seeing so many people, so many fans, so many kids having fun and joining us, it's just fantastic. It's the best emotion you can get.
Really strange to interview him, because we're working together really close all day long. So what do you expect from the race? I know you're a race fan as well.
Yeah, I'm a race fan first, so I expect action, I expect entertainment, I expect passion, and I expect to be there biting my nails until the very last corner, as usual.
So I'm now going to check what he's doing with me, because I tried to interview him out of nothing. So we see. Maybe I'm alive later.
Yeah, you are.
Love you, Andre. It's been good working with you. Love you. There you go. That's the first time ever that the two interviewees can both hear me in their ears. A little bit of inside baseball there. So that was quite funny. They could both hear me before I cut down to them. Of course, Gianluca, a huge part of making this series work as it does. And this year, of course, we do have a suite of changes. We've already discussed that the cars have been improved, some changes to the suspension and that cooling duct, and just generally trying to make the cars more drivable and durable. In addition to that, of course, we have 2 double points rounds at the end of the season. Both Oschersleben and Zolder at the end of the year will be contested with double points on the line. So rather than the standard 40 points for a win in the championship, it will be 80 points for a win. And that is going to be a big, big deal. There you see the points breakdown on your screen. The regular season, the first 5 races, or the first 5 events of the year, the first 10 rounds of the year, your 8 best results will be carried into the playoffs. And then the double points playoffs, there are no drops there. You've got to keep going from there and try and score as many points from the 320 that will be available to you as you possibly can. You saw there Thomas Chrysonis being told to stop signing autographs because they need to clear the fans. They're just so popular, they don't know what to do with themselves. Less than 15 minutes until the countdown then. I think a big factor once we go racing here is going to be the question mark of the tyres, because these tyres in this race have done a 18-lap race yesterday, a qualifying session and a super pole yesterday, and they have to do another race today. So the slick tyres on these cars now are the same ones that were on the cars in qualifying and race 1 yesterday. Now these are very durable tyres, the Hughes rubber, but they will be a talking point. In these conditions, there's just no way that everybody is going to have a fresh set of tyres come the end of the race. They are durable rubber, but there's durability, and then there's asking them for the impossible, and they will have a big heat cycle put through them during this race. They'll already have had a big heat cycle put through them yesterday. It'll be very compelling to see who, at the end of the race, has traction out of those corners, who has done the best job of saving the tyres over the course of the race. You see there Tobias Downhauer, headphones on. I wonder what he's listening to. We Are the Champions and other Queen songs is his Austrian friend Patrick Schauber's Poison. Usually I think some classic American rock going on in Claudio Remeggio Capelli's heads. You see everybody next to their cars. In about 5 minutes we're due the national anthems, but they might start them a little bit early, and I'll be hopefully informed if they are. You can see them all prepared to take in both the Spanish and US national anthems. As is tradition here at these events, we play the Star Spangled Banner as well. There is Claudio Remeggio Capelli. We found him. He hasn't got his earbuds in at the moment. Yes, that is the thumbs up, my friend. And look at that. That's breaking news. We've still got the Loris Hazelman's helmet on Liam. Just saw it on the roof of his car. He's still got Loris's lucky helmet. I assume there might be some element of superstition behind the fact that he still hasn't got his name on the helmet, that he's still using the same helmet that he inherited from his brother before debuting in EuroNASCAR back in 2022. It remains in the form that it has been ever since he arrived in the paddock. And to be fair, he has been very, very competitive and strong ever since he arrived in this paddock 2 years ago as a rookie. Won the EuroNASCAR 2 championship at his first attempt, of course, and then the following year, 2023, in the EuroNASCAR Pro Championship. As we saw, he managed to become the junior trophy champion. This year he wants to be the overall champion, and there is some very good news for our Dutch friends. Sebastian Bleekemolen has arrived on the grid. So Bleekemolen's car is ready to go. I think he was just a bit late and couldn't get down there with all the fans in the paddock. Andre, down to you again, my friend.
I just want to tell you I'm going to join you a little bit later in commentary because I'm going to be the co-pilot of this beautiful pace car that we have right here. So I'm going to take a lap and then join you.
So this is just to make me jealous, Andre. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, definitely. That's exactly what I wanted to do. Nothing else.
Okay, well, I will hold this bitterness in my heart for the rest of the day. Thank you very much, Andre. That is very, very cool indeed. Andre Viegold then getting to be the co-pilot of that Corvette C7 with the aero kit on it. Very cool car. And Andre is going to get to see firsthand these cars on the warm-up lap. He'd better set up a camera or something in the back window of that car so we can see what's going on in the rear view mirror, because that is certainly a coveted spot to be in. 10 minutes and 20 seconds until the countdown to command is given. We're expecting the national anthems in the next few seconds as well. Of course, from there, the most famous words in motorsport will follow quickly. And it will be Manuel Alvino, the president of the Spanish Automobile Federation, that gives the command this time around. You can see Jerome Galpan chatting to the director of the circuit. Jerome, of course, is the man in charge of all things EuroNASCAR. He is the chief. He has been doing a great job along with his team to make this season a spectacle. There's Capelli along with Vladimiros Tsiotsis. He'll be cheering on Tsiotsis, his Alex Cathy Academy teammate. Tsiotsis with some work to do, though. He's way down the grid in this race. He will start all the way down in 14th, an uncharacteristically far down position for the Cypriot sensation. Let's see if he can climb his way up there. In the next few seconds, we are expecting the national anthems of Spain and the United States. And we'll go down there now for the anthems, as I believe they're about to play out around the circuit.
Que acoge esta prueba de la EuroNASCAR, escuchemos el himno nacional de España.
There you see Martin Dubek getting some water through his system, getting himself ready to go racing. Of course, Dubek was a winner yesterday in EuroNASCAR 2. He followed that up with second place this morning in the second EuroNASCAR 2 race of the season. He starts in a fairly strong 9th place this time in this race, so he'll be looking to maybe try and get a good result on the board to open up his EuroNASCAR Pro weekend as well. Had a strong showing in race 1. He'd love to try and make the top 5 in race 2 if he possibly can. There you see Vittorio Garelli gearing up then. The time to chat, the time to sign is over. Everyone is now focused in on the task at hand being racing. There's Liam Hasemans getting himself ready to go as well. Interesting to see how he keeps his ear defenders in there. All important in these big, loud V8 machines, of course, to try and preserve your hearing. So a wise young man to do that. Love the colourful nature of this grid as well. You just saw it there at the back end of the order, the likes of Jack Davidson with the hot pink, the fluorescent colours on many of these machines. It does feel like these cars are often an extension of the driver's personality. They do get the opportunity to really express themselves with the livery of their car in a way that perhaps we don't see in many championships at a high level in Europe or globally anymore. And that's a really cool touch as well. Another cherry atop the EuroNASCAR cake. Liam Hasemans getting himself suited and booted then. Again, you see the Loris on the back of the helmet. Again, I do reckon that is probably at this point just a good luck charm helmet. That is his championship helmet from 2022, of course, so I wouldn't want to change it either, to be fair. He climbs into the Hendricks Motorsport number 50 then. And as Andre alluded to, Gil Linster won with the thing. So no pressure to Liam. That's a cool shot. That's a very cool shot of the cheerleaders there. You can see the heat haze making it look like they're levitating above the ground. Well done, cameraman. Very well framed shot. That really does show the intense heat that we're working with in and outside the car this weekend. And these drivers are definitely going to get put through it over the course of the next 18 laps of racing. Of course, uniquely this year, for the first time, the laps that occur under a safety car, we haven't had a safety car this weekend, but the laps that are run under safety car will be added to the race distance. So we'll get 18 laps of green flag racing regardless. That is an interesting new wrinkle to the championship. Previously, we were losing quite a few race laps on some occasions to the safety car, but now we're making sure we get some good green flag running, not just via the overtime rule that is in place, but also because of this new addition, the safety car laps getting added to the race distance. I'm sure everybody overfilling the cars just in case the safety car does come out. There's a look into the cockpit. It's old school. H pattern shifter to drivers right. Yes, I did have to think very hard about what right and left were there. H pattern shifter, big steering wheel to wrestle through some of these corners. It's a car that demands a lot of you physically. It's a car that really does seem to bring the best out of some drivers. We've seen the likes of Loris Hasemans, Alan Day really kind of make this series their own and adapt to this car magnificently. And of course, this is the man who has won the championship most recently, Gianmarco Ercoli, who has so consistently been a factor fighting for EuroNASCAR Pro Championships in recent years. Finally, in 2023, he won the big one, and he's looking to defend that title. However, he starts a little bit further down the grid than he would like. 7th on the grid after a difficult race yesterday. The grid for this race set by the fastest lap times from yesterday's race. That's why Tobias Downhauer is up there in 2nd place despite not getting the flag yesterday. It's thrown up some interesting results, certainly. Look at that, the fans even spilling out onto the podium here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. I think everyone fighting for every inch of space they can get around the grandstands. Not all of the grandstands around the circuit are open, so they're very, very busy where they are open. Manuel Avino, the president of the Spanish Federation for Automobiles, is our grand marshal for this race. And in 30 seconds, maybe a little before, he will give us the command. So let's go down there and hear the most famous words in motorsport from Manuel Avino as we get ready to go racing at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo in EuroNASCAR Pro.
Bueno, presidente, la parrilla de la NASCAR es suya. La parrilla de la NASCAR es suya.
Drivers, start your engines.
Ahí está, drivers, start your engines. Hemos vuelto a hacer la magia. Arrancan los miles de caballos. Todo el mundo a sus posiciones. Vamos a disfrutar de la segunda parada.
There you go. The command is given. And the engines are fired. We are underway. Very excited to finally get those engines rumbling. Of course, Andre Viegold will be feeling all of this from the passenger seat of that Corvette. It will be rumbling underneath him. How exciting that Andre is getting to do that. It is a rub-in tactic for me more than anything, I'm sure, but what an experience that will be. Garelli and Downhauer, the two cars closest to the Corvette safety car then. They will be fighting out into the first corner. Vittorio Garelli will be looking for a better start than he had yesterday. On Saturday, Garelli got swallowed by the field. And he can't be repeating that this time around. The cars are rolling then. It is Vittorio Garelli ahead of Tobias Downhauer on the front row of the grid for this one. The cars roll across the start-finish line here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. And it will be Vittorio Garelli for PK Carsport, his new team for 2024. On pole position alongside Tobias Downhauer. Liam Hazeman's on row 2 of the grid alongside the late arrival Sebastian Blekemolen, getting that car back out there. They've been through a lot of spares this weekend, I think. Paul Giffreau and Thomas Tefel make up our third row of the grid. Tefel in one of his strongest weekends to date in EuroNASCAR across both of our categories. Gianmarco Ercoli and Lucas Lasser on row 4 of the grid, 7th and 8th place. Row 5, Martin Dubek and Kenko Miura. Next up, Patrick Lemarie and Thomas Dombrovski on row 6. Row 7 of the grid, Mark Goossens and Vladimiros Siotzis. Ulis Delso and Thomas Chrysonis on row 8. Lanza and Vargas on row 9. Jack Davidson and Riccardo Romagnoli on row 10. Neumann, Casso, Strickler and Armetta round out our 24-car grid, and that is certainly something we should mention before we get into the thick of the racing action. Fabrizio Armetta, you'll remember him being on the podium yesterday. Unfortunately, he was disqualified from the race in irregularity with one of the suspension parts on the car. It wasn't to the technical regulations, ergo he was disqualified and will have to start from this race from the back of the grid. So from podium to the very rear of the field for Fabrizio Armetta, and of course he loses his podium from yesterday as well. That is a big blow to Armetta. He'll be looking to make up some places from the rear of the field then. 24 cars in 2x2 formation behind the Corvette safety car, behind our colleague Andre. And we're almost ready to go racing in EuroNASCAR Pro for the second time this season. It's Sunday at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. There are tens of thousands of fans here to watch the racing. And we'll see who comes out on top in the Spanish heat. The cars roll in 2x2 formation. Who will it be that leads it into turn 1? Can Garelli get the start he needs this time around? They are rolling and racing, and again, Garelli does not get off the line as quickly as Downhauer. Oh, and Sebastian Bleikemolen in a contact there. All sorts of dramas. Cars everywhere on at the first lap. We didn't even get to turn 1, and there is a lot of damaged hardware there on the main straight. Sebastian Bleikemolen was hooked into a spin there. Red flags around the circuit, unsurprisingly. Sebastian Bleikemolen. The 69 Bleikemolen team have been through it this weekend. Few other cars involved in that as well. We saw, I think, the number 5 of Siortis may have been involved as well. But we'll confirm the who, what and when as soon as we get another shot. There's Dubek involved in that as well then. His car really did get torn up. And a couple of cars down at pit exit as well. But that is not how he wanted to start this race. Red flags. For Tobias Downhauer, that good start was all for nothing. A red flag will reset the proceedings. This is the most hair-raising beginning to a race we've seen in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series for quite some time. Have a lot of work to do, a lot of body work to pick up down there on the main straight. Of course, last thing you want is a cut tyre, and there's a lot of different body work down there at the moment. Patrick Lemarie and Fabrizio Armetta are both involved in that as well. I think Andre is going to be with us, and we'll hear from him shortly, I think. But you see there the cars now returning to the grid, and there will be a lot of gaps on that grid as they pull up and wait for the all clear to go racing again. And they'll have to reorder everybody as well, so it's going to be a lot of work. Get a replay here of the start. And there we see the 69 car, I think, getting turned around on the front end of Vittorio Garelli. Further back, I think, in a separate instant there, the number 1 car getting spun around. That, of course, was Lemarie, and I understand Andre is with me now. Well, Andre, that race, we'd been building it up. We'd been excited to see what would happen in race number 2, but that wasn't the start that any of us were expecting. And this is going to take a little while for the recovery crews to sort out.
Yeah, that was really, really scary. We see here again the replay, the crash of the 69 car, and then back then, it's the typical chain reaction we have there. The number 1 car got spun, we have the 7 car in the wall, the 14 car as well. Many drivers involved in this heavy, really heavy and violent accident here at Circuit Ricardo Tormo. But as far as I know, it seems like everybody seems to be at least okay. The cars are quite really safe. So, wow, just massive. I was in the leading car, the blue Corvette you've seen, and we were going through the pit lane, and the driver told me, man, there's a red flag, and I just saw all the smoke coming up from that crash. It was really scary, and then I just had a little sprint up here to check what happened, and we're now having a red flag situation, something I've never seen before in EuroNASCAR, so in the recent years at least. So really tough situation right now.
I was searching my brain for the same thing. I can't remember this scenario, certainly not so early in a race, so instantaneously. Unfortunately, Ryan Vargas and the 3F Racing crew have once again been caught out here. They found themselves in the midst of that wreck, and I mean, realistically, I think most of the cars from about 5th place down are going to have some evidence of that crash on their machines. There's not a lot that these guys can do when there's that much going on in front of them. You can slow down, you can back off, you can try and just keep the steering wheel centered and hope that no one ends up slingshotting into you. But of course the other factor is if you slow down too much, you can have someone behind you collect you as well. So there really is no right way of going about it. It's just whether the luck is on your side or not.
Yeah, I've got the information that all drivers are okay. Everybody was able to leave the car on their own power, so that seems fine. And we had a really, really tough crash already here in 2019. I was here as well with Mauro Triono and Alan Lohr back then. I wasn't 100% sure if we got a red flag or a yellow flag there, but it was also a starting crash with a heavy hit into the barriers. So yeah, tough situation. We see a lot of teams now trying to work on the car. Of course, we are under red flag conditions, but the race control and the series will for sure tell the teams and drivers what is possible and what not to do right now on the cars. And it's going to be a tough break. This might be Dennis Sears. I'm not 100% sure. Nah, I don't think so, no. The team owner of 3F Racing, but that was too much beard.
I see. Well, that was Ryan Vargas getting spoken to, as we know. Just seeing there Lucas Lasser having some debrief there with Gianmarco Ercoli. Everybody gathering their thoughts and chatting. And of course, I'm sure the information that all drivers manage to get out of the car under their own steam will be fed to the grid as well gradually. And that will be foremost in the minds of these drivers too. Yes, they're rivals. Yes. To an extent, here in the media side of the tent, we do almost egg on the rivalries sometimes because this is entertainment, of course, at the end of the day. But once all is said and done, these guys have respect for each other. They travel Europe together in this incredible traveling circus that is EuroNASCAR. And when things like this happen, the first question on everyone's lips is everyone okay?
Yeah. So the cars involved that we can confirm: 24, 69, 75, 55, 1, 43, 30 and 14. Maybe some more, but these cars we can already confirm that were involved in this heavy starting accident here in EuroNASCAR Pro Round 2 at Circuit Ricardo Tormo. It will take some time to clean the track, to get all the wrecks out of the way. We see the 55.
And of course, the big question, I think, as well, is going to be, I believe we'll have a look at some highlights momentarily, Andre, but I did just want to pick your brain on something quickly before we go to those. Is this going to count towards the 45 minutes? Do you know to the letter of the law whether that's going to count towards the 45-minute limit on the race distance?
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm going to find out while we are playing the highlights, I think.
That's a good idea. Okay, so while we await the recovery of these cars, we have a 5-minute little highlight breakdown from yesterday's exciting races at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. Yesterday, in perhaps a slightly less literal sense than we've had in this race, the EuroNASCAR season got started with a bang. NASCAR Pro season, 18 laps of racing is about to get underway. Vittorio Garelli on the inside of the front row. Tobias Downhauer will look for some momentum around the outside. Row 2 of the grid for Fabrizio Armetta and Sebastian Bleikemolen. Let's see who leads them. It's going to be Downhauer. It is Garelli being really swept up by the field. It's Downhour that leads the way. He's followed by the 69 of Blake Amolan. Third place will be Garelli, but it's all kicked off in the back of shot. Siortsis involved in that. Dombrovski facing the wrong way. I'd say at least half a dozen cars caught up in an incident early on there for 11th place. Yes, it was. But look at this defensive driving from Lasser, and look at Dubek. He takes his opportunity to dive to the inside there of the 54. Thomas Tafel taking the opportunity as well. Gianmarco Ercoli there finding out the hard way that once the door is open, these drivers will kick it down. It's of course something he knows all too well.
I have to say, he's really doing a good job. He has Vittorio Girelli right at his back bumper, and right now, 0 mistakes. He's not really blocking, he's just staying on the ideal line, on his line, and he's not doing any mistake. He's really coping with the pressure right now, right?
Yeah, he really is. Tobias Downhour, of course, the only driver to win, the only German driver to win a NASCAR sanctioned event. He would love to secure himself an early championship lead. 2.5 seconds the gap between himself and Sebastian Blake Amolan in second place right now. Of course, Blake Amolan, a multiple-time champion in the world of Clio Cup racing, and if anything sets you up for a career of wheel-to-wheel action, it is Clio Cup racing.
And here we have Gianmarco Ercoli getting really right outside of the last turn, and this is maybe the opportunity for Podium to take another position.
Martin Dubek entering the pit lane. Paul Dufro on the inside of our reigning champion. It's both of our reigning champions side by side, and Paul Dufro moves up to 7th position.
And that's the same for Girelli. A bad start, now he's third. He's trying to pass Sebastian Blake Amolan, but at the moment he finds no way around the 69 car. And I have to say, you talked about Sebastian Blake Amolan's sporting successes in different series. But what I also want to point out, he's the team manager of the team, and they have a total of 5 cars here on track, 4 own cars, and they also take care of the 3-up racing car of Ryan Vargas. So they really prepare 5 cars during one race weekend. Those are really busy Dutch crew members up there. Yep.
Downhour is slow. The race leader seemingly has had a problem out there on the circuit. Now, is he going to head for the pit lane? We heard on the grid with you, Andre, that he had some oil leaks in the previous race. Is this or in the qualifying session, I should say? Is this a continuation of the issues that Dominic Schack found out about in quali? Doesn't matter really what the issue is. The net result is that Downhour is heading into pit lane as we speak, and Vittorio Girelli takes the lead back. Vittorio Girelli, who started this race from pole position. Vittorio Girelli, meanwhile, absolutely dominant at the front of the order. He's had a sensational race in at the 24, returning to PK Car Sport many years later. A former champion in single-seaters, a former EuroNASCAR 2 champ as well, a driver that we have always pegged as a potential championship contender. We finally saw that come true in EuroNASCAR Pro last year. Was right up there in the title fight until the end of the season. Dufro will be second in the championship at the conclusion of this first race, behind only our race winner Vittorio Girelli. There is the 24 PK Car Sport machine. Well, there we go. That was yesterday. Red flag ongoing at the moment down at the turn 1, or not even at turn 1. There was a big collision. Sebastian Blake Amolan spinning in the pack, seemingly, I think, making contact with the slow starting Vittorio Girelli. And from there, the concertina effect. Everybody seemed to find somebody to connect with in the midfield. Lots of cars damaged. A few cars won't be taking any further part in this race. Blake Amolan probably among them. Dubek most certainly, Lemarie, and Armetta as well. A lot of damaged race cars out there on the circuit. At least 9 involved with the incident, but quite likely more carrying damage. Vladimiros Siortis carried on, even with the rear of his car completely severed from the machine. The rear bodywork completely gone. And Andre, the circuit still being worked on by the marshals, by the recovery crews for now. But we can expect to go back racing. It's just a matter of making sure, above all, that the circuit is ready to go, that there's absolutely no chance of there being any bodywork or anything to cause damage to tyres or anything of that nature. And it does look to me as well as though helmets are going back on for some of the drivers down there as well. So that gives me cause to think that we're not a million miles away from going racing again.
Yeah, definitely. It looks good. And I think that the marshals did an amazing job again. Circuit Ricardo Tormo, always very, very professional, fast guys, passionate guys. They know exactly what they do. They really take care of the safety of the drivers. So heads up for all the marshals out there without the Orange Army. There's no racing in the world. And yeah, you said more than 9 cars involved. So we can catch on a American phrase. It was a big one, right?
It was the big one, I think.
It was the big one, yeah.
We'll ask Ryan Vargas if it counts. I think he's been caught in the big one at Talladega before, so he's qualified. He's qualified to know what a big one is and isn't. And actually, Gil Linster in the same tack as well, of course, racing Daytona in ARCA last year. Hopefully it is the big one. We don't need to pluralize incidents of that nature this weekend before the crews load up and head to Vallelunga. And that's actually a point as well, I imagine, for some of these teams, especially the ones maybe based further north in Europe. I would imagine that their trucks would more than likely be scheduled to head straight from Valencia to Vallelunga. And incidents like this may change the plans for some.
I have no clue. To be honest, we have to check with the teams, but I think it depends if you're now having damage or not. I think we have 4 or 5 weeks between the race weekends, so you can bring it home, repair the cars, and bring them back for Vallelunga. What I got on information right now is that the red flag will not count towards the 45 minutes.
Okay, that's really good news then. So we should still be able to get a full race distance in. Again, you can see that big impact with the Armco on Sebastian Bleekemolen as well. Didn't quite appreciate the first couple of runs through quite how big an impact that was to the side of his car. Dubek as well getting a nice clonk as well there as his car skidded across the circuit. Lots of drama, lots of damage then on this first lap, and yeah, that was one that caught out just about everybody. A few survivors through the rear of the field there. Dario Casso did a remarkable job of staying free of it, among a few others. I think Strickler as well. I thought it was just going to be Bleekemolen for a couple of seconds while it was happening live in front of us, but then of course, as everybody else kind of checked up, it all went wrong from there. And we now have the cars being recovered at the moment. You can see Bleekemolen's car on the flatbed there at turn 1. And this is on the inside of the circuit. It does look like it's still on the racetrack, but this is actually one of the alternative layouts on the infield of the track. And Martin Dubek's car looks like it is in a very sorry state. That looks more like it's ready for Dale Jr.'s wrecked car yard more so than going racing in Vallelunga.
For me, it looked even like a little bit like a modified car, you know, that they are racing on the short tracks in the US as well.
It really did. Is Whelen? I was just going to say, is Whelen still the title partner there in the modified series as well? We could do a crossover.
Yeah, man, we are laughing. I know that's really, really hurtful, of course, for the team and for the driver. But we try to keep it entertaining. By the way, lots of people here at Circuit Ricardo Tormo. When I did the lap with the Corvette in front of the field, by the way, it was amazing. I always feel like a kid when I'm having those opportunities, by the way. I was just waving to them, and the whole grandstands on the start-finish straight, all the grandstands are full of people, packed with NASCAR fans. You saw it already on the grid walk. People with tattoos, NASCAR tattoos. They are totally crazy in Valencia. It's amazing. It's just amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? NASCAR, as much of an American sport as it is, you know, if you say American sport to people, they'll say the NFL, the NBA, maybe baseball or NASCAR. Those will be the four big ones that slip from people's lips when you mention sport in the USA. But it's a global community, and increasingly in this 21st century environment in the media landscape, of course, American sports in general are becoming more and more globalized. We see that with the NFL games that happen across Europe at this point. I think they do a game in Germany. I think they might.
Yeah, they did.
They've done.
NFL was in Germany twice or 3 times already.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously they've been coming to the UK for many years at this point, having their games at Wembley Stadium, upsetting the occasional fan of the turf at Wembley because it gets a bit torn up for the next football game, UK football game that takes place. But American sports in general are increasingly crossing over. And of course, NASCAR has always been keen on global expansion. Look back to those invitational events at Suzuka back in the 90s, where you had the incredible sight of Jeff Gordon running around the hallowed turf of the Suzuka circuit. Look at the Australian series going back to the 1990s as well. Of course, EuroNASCAR has been established for well over a decade. The Mexican and Canadian series over in North America have a big history. They've recently expanded out to Brazil as well. And of course the calls keep coming in as well, don't they, for a Cup Series race outside of the borders of the United States. We've seen the Xfinity Series, as it's now called, at Montreal in the past. We've seen the trucks at the Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, MoSport. We've seen, of course, Mexico as well, the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez host a NASCAR Xfinity race as well. And I don't think it'll be long before the Cup Series finds its way beyond the US borders as well, with the surge of popularity that's going on with stuff like our series, stuff like the Garage 56 program last year. The demand is definitely there.
I think that was the Corvette, because that was the sound I had when we started, and then the field should be following very, very soon. We have the green flag. I can give you some information. 17 laps left to go. We will be going 2x2 formation, so there will be a classical 2x2 restart after this red flag period. And this is not counting towards the 45 minutes limit we have in the route. That's just for when we extend the race distance because of safety car laps or overtimes. So we're going to have the full distance of 17 laps right now, and we're going to have a typical 2x2 restart. So yeah, let's try to get this started again.
Excellent stuff then. So formation lap going on. We're going to get 17 laps of racing. The first lap will be counted towards the race distance, but not the race time, so we will get a full EuroNASCAR race as we expect it for this one. Of course, that is great for everybody. I think the likes of Gianmarco Ercli would be very keen to get some points on the board after the disappointment of race number 1 yesterday. Let's see how everybody's cars are taped up. Is Ryan Vargas back out there, I wonder, because he was, of course, in the pit lane with his damage. I hope that Ryan gets the opportunity to head back out there, but I haven't seen him since we saw the car being worked on. Of course, he was still in the cockpit of the car last we saw of it as well, so hopefully the number 30 is going to run again. But in general, we will have lost a few cars. We will have had a few crews working hard to make sure these things are ready to go racing. And, of course, we will find out over the course of the next 45 minutes, or indeed, of course, the next 17 laps, who is going to come away with that all-important red Whelen banner on the windscreen of their car. Vittorio Garelli leading the championship by a point over Paul Giuffreau. Giuffreau there in 5th place. If he can show the overtaking and race pace prowess that he had yesterday, he could be a challenger to Vittorio Garelli. I just saw there that Ryan Vargas is at the back of the field, but he's at the back of the field as far as I can tell sans any front bodywork. Yeah, there he is at the very back of the pack. That car is going to be a handful. That is definitely going to be an understeery beast, a tight car to use American terms. That is going to be a very tricky ride for Ryan Vargas. A shame that they couldn't get a spare part on the car there. So then, Garelli and Dauenhauer, your front row of the grid. Tobias Dauenhauer will be looking to once again beat Garelli out of the blocks. It seems as though Garelli has been maybe missing a gear, struggling to get the car off the line when these lights go out. Can he nail it on the 3rd attempt at a start? We get underway, and again Dauenhauer with the nose ahead on the run down to the first corner. Again Garelli maybe under threat here for the race lead going into turn 1, but he's got the inside line. He goes deep into the corner to try and preserve the lead. They go scattering out across the runoff area, and it is Garelli that leads the way. Dauenhauer now side by side with Liam Hazemans for 2nd place. Gianmarco Ercoli is up to 4th position there. He's just ahead of Paul Giuffreau as everybody fights for track space on this first lap. We're down a few cars. I think we've got 19 taking the start now, but it's Vittorio Garelli that leads them. I think that was quite an audacious lunge into the first corner. He was behind Dauenhauer coming into turn 1, but he still had the inside line, and he just, I think, closed his eyes, turned left, and hoped that the car would stay in the right direction.
Yeah, this start really worked well. But Tobias Dauenhauer needs to be very careful right now because Gianmarco Ercoli tries to get past the 99 car right now. It's the battle for 3rd place. Behind that, we have the next battle, Paul Giuffreau, under enormous pressure. First from Thomas Toffel, but he's now falling down the order. But now it's going to be, who is it? Luca Lasser passing Paul Giuffreau for this position. They are still side by side. And then we have Thomas Toffel and Kenko Miura is in the... Oh, Giuffreau in problems.
Yeah, Giuffreau got squeezed there by Lasser. Dombrovski off on the gravel as well, so lots going on here. Vargas trying to pick his way through with his damaged car. We saw at the towards the rear as well. Oh, and the 54 into the pit lane. The champion from last year, the driver who needed a good race this time around, his car is limping into the pits. It looked like maybe a tyre was going down on the 54 car. Gianmarco Ercoli's difficult weekend has just gotten a lot harder. He's had a wonderful weekend, of course, personally welcoming his daughter into the world while here at Valencia. But the racing has not gone to plan at all. Let's see if he can get that car back out there. The 72 of Goossens there fighting with Chrysonis. Goossens in his first weekend racing for the Team Blakemolen outfit. He's up in 8th position at the moment, 7th position now that he's got past Chrysonis, but Giuffreau now down in 9th place. He got squeezed there by Lasser, and that's cost him a lot of positions, and I don't think Paul Giuffreau is going to be best impressed.
Yeah, and remember what Paul Giuffreau said yesterday about Luca Lasser when he got penalized for the track limits. He was a little bit sarcastic. Yeah, and now the tables turned a little bit, so Lasser taught him a little lesson. Lasser, of course, one of the most experienced drivers here on the grid. He's part of the series since 2009 as a driver, as a team owner. He's also very, very deep involved into the series structures with the drivers' recruitment program, so he knows the cars and the tracks like the back of his hand. So Luca Lasser taught Paul Giuffreau a little lesson here with this amazing pass, and the Frenchman in the number 3 car in RDV competition, he needs to get back into the rhythm, because when you have something like this, a situation like this, when you're falling down the order, when you're crumbling down the order, you really have to get back into the rhythm and try to find the race pace back. And it's not that easy. We see a lot of drivers doing mistakes afterwards as well. So let's see what Paul Giuffreau is able to do. But I hope that the car is okay.
Yes, that's the most important thing, isn't it? You allude to Luca Lasser's history in this series. Of course, 2 times a champion in EuroNASCAR before it was called EuroNASCAR. He's been here for a long time, predating the agreement with our American colleagues, and absolutely invaluable part of the paddock. Now, Liam Hasemans, he was talking about the fact that Ercole was so much quicker than everybody else, but he's keeping pace, isn't he, with the 24 PK car sport machine. So the Hendricks Motorsport driver is right there with Garelli at the moment, breaking away from Tobias Downhauer in 3rd place, along with the Italian racer. Liam Hasemans started his season off fairly strongly here, of course, last year in EuroNASCAR Pro. He seems to quite like this circuit, Ricardo Tormo. He likes being in the Spanish sunshine for sure. And Hasemans is looking like he could be an adversary here to Vittorio Garelli. We've got yellow flags down at turn 5, so someone may have had a moment in the first sector of the lap. And look at that in 5th place. Thomas Tuffel under a lot of pressure from Kenko Miura. And then Mark Goossens, Chrysonis, Giuffreau all there with them as well. Giuffreau has moved up to 8th place. He's gotten past Chrysonis. Kenko Miura trying to go around the outside of Thomas Tuffel as well. The 72 car diving to the inside. Goossens gets past Kenko Miura. He moves up to 6th position. It's all kicking off there in the back half of the top 10 then, as the top 2 break away and come through our picture in the lead, separated by just 1/4 of a second. But Tuffel is in the hottest of hot seats. And, well, if he doesn't start to get away from them soon, he will start to burn in that hot seat. He's running there in 5th place. I don't know how much longer he's going to hold that position, though.
Yeah, and here at the front, we have an amazing battle now between Vittorio Garelli and Liam Hasemans. 2 very talented and young drivers, PK Car Sport versus Hendricks Motorsport from the Netherlands. Roy and Jupp Hendricks are the masterminds behind the team from the Netherlands. The 50 car they field. And the interesting thing is that Jupp Hendricks and Roy Hendricks, who we saw yesterday working on the car as a team boss, they were racers by themselves. They grew up on oval racing tracks in the Netherlands, Raceway Venray, but also other short ovals, so they know exactly what it needs to be fast on a track like the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. They also did a lot of road course racing, so it's really interesting to have a lot of team owners here that are not only businessmen or mechanics or engineers. They were all racers by themselves. There are a lot of team owners here in the paddock that can race, that they know exactly what it needs to be fast, so they can really offer the driver exactly what they need to be successful in EuroNASCAR. Of course, there are some other EuroNASCAR team owners that have never been drivers before, but Roy and Jupp Hendricks, they know exactly what to do.
Thomas Dombrowski is in the pit lane. Gianmarco Ercole has gotten back out on the circuit after peeling into the pits with damage. Now, he is still on the lead lap of the race as well. That's critical. So if there's a safety car or something like that, he might well end up back in the scrum, as it were. He should be hoping for that, quite frankly, from so far back. There is Miura then. We see him now in 7th position, just ahead of Paul Giuffreau. Mark Goossens studying Thomas Tuffel at the moment, see if he can find a way past. Goossens with definitely the most diverse four-wheeled resume on the grid. But of course, Thomas Tuffel, former motorcycle racer, former pocket bike champion in Switzerland. He is someone who has raced just about anything and everything over the course of his tenure in motorsport. We've got a yellow flag down at turn 12, and I think that might be for Jack Davidson. Jack Davidson has gone missing. He hasn't crossed the line to complete this lap, and he's lost positions there. So Davidson with potentially a problem somewhere. Maybe he's in the gravel. We'll have to wait and see, but here come our leading pair then. Here comes Garelli, here comes Hasemans, and Hasemans hasn't given Garelli an iota of reprieve since this race resumed there. We just saw Jack Davidson parked up on the inside of turn 12. That car should be in a safe enough position that after a couple of laps of yellow, it's judged to be okay in that spot, but we'll wait and see what race control have to say about that. Hasemans powers out of the final corner then, and Liam's a patient young man when he needs to be. He'll apply the pressure, he'll wait for an opportunity that will work rather than just diving to the inside on a Hail Mary. Paul Giuffreau, meanwhile, is coming into the pit lane. Now, does Paul Giuffreau have a penalty of some description? I haven't seen one come up on my screen. No, I have not. So I think that might be a problem for Paul Giuffreau. He's been trying to fight his way back through the order, but the number 3 car is in the pit lane.
Yeah, that might be the reason why he already had not the pace to keep up with the front runners here at the beginning of the race. We saw him falling down the order, and maybe now they have to check what's wrong with the car, and it's the perfect explanation why he's not in the top 5 anymore. Yep, they're looking at the car, so I think there are technical issues on this beautiful car fielded by RDV Competition. But let's focus on the front. At the front, that we have now here Girelli and Hasemans. They are just separate by a split second, so it's going to be just a matter of time when Hasemans is throwing the first real attack on Girelli. I think he's just waiting a little bit, trying to keep the pressure high, maybe force him into a mistake. But at some certain point in the race, Hasemans is going all in for sure. I am 100% sure that he's going to be a really, really tough opponent for Girelli, who has a good pace, but Hasemans is doing an amazing job keeping up with him.
Now let's keep an eye on the lap times this time for Girelli and Hasemans. Last time they were both on 1 minute 42.46 lap times, basically identical in terms of lap time performance, as we see Paul Giuffreau there in the RDV competition car. Now this time Hasemans was 0.2 quicker. This time he's got a run down into turn 1. He has the inside, and Liam Hasemans is our race leader, or is he? Girelli and Hasemans both go peeling off into the runoff area, but Hasemans has muscled his way through. He's used the high ground on the inside line to move into the race lead. Hasemans for Hendricks Motorsport leads for the first time this season in EuroNASCAR Pro. It is Hasemans then from Girelli now, and the reason I brought up the lap times before is because Tobias Dauenhauer was lapping quicker than Girelli and closing in on both Hasemans and Girelli, getting involved, getting closer to that 2-car scrap for the lead. Now actually, both drivers, both Hasemans and Dauenhauer, set an exact same time last time by. Both of them set a 1:42.226, identical down to the thousandth of a second then. That is very impressive. But the question is, of course, what kind of pace does Hasemans have now that he's been released by Vittorio Girelli? And can Dauenhauer pursue Hasemans? Has he got some extra pace in the back pocket? And even if he has the pace, can he get past Girelli and try and chase down Liam Hasemans? It looks to me, watching Hasemans just build car lengths over Girelli at the moment, that Vittorio does not have a response for the young Dutchman right now.
Right now, no. Definitely no. And he has to be really careful, because Tobias Dauenhauer is really, really quick. What do we have here? It's a pass for the lead. So here's the lead change again. Clever move by Liam Hasemans. Inside of turn 1. He made the right decision, the right time. He got out of the ideal line. He's driving inside, and then, of course, Girelli gets really, really wide there. And Hasemans just staying, giving him a little bit of space, but not too much for turn 2. And then, yeah, he has it done. Amazing move by Liam Hasemans, who's now leading the race. And we saw it already last year that he's incredibly quick here at Circuit Ricardo Tormo. And Tobias Dauenhauer, he's closing in. He's coming closer and closer to the back bumper of Vittorio Girelli. We take a look at the actual lap times. Yeah, they're equal. But Liam Hasemans, he clocked the fastest lap of the race right now. So he's 0.2 quicker than Girelli and Dauenhauer. Now we see the real pace of the 50, I think.
Yeah, quite possibly. We will start to see the true pace unfold. Just 15 cars left running then in this race. We wiped out 5 cars, of course, on the initial attempt to start. We've had a few cars pull in since then. I think some of them a legacy of being involved in that collision on the first lap. And then, of course, you've got the cars running around still wounded. Gianmarco Ercoli, of course, at the very back of the field and a long way off the rest of the pack after having to come in and fix his car. Then, of course, you've got Ryan Vargas down there in 12th position he is away off the rest of the field, and that's understandable because he basically doesn't have a front end left anymore on the 3F racing car. A lot of torn up machinery. I think there's really only about 10 cars running around the circuit that have anything like the true performance we'd expect from them. This has been a race of attrition, certainly. Here's Kenko Miura, I believe this is. No, it's not, sorry, it's Thomas Tafel defending from Mark Goossens, and then it's Kenko Miura behind them. Goossens still trying to find a way through. Tafel a bit wide there into turn one. That could be the opportunity that the Goose needs. And he gets to the inside. What's good for the Goose is possibly not good for the Gander being Thomas Tafel. Mark Goossens gets through then into 5th position. Top 5 finish for him would be a nice way to wrap up this first weekend running in the 72 car. Sharing the car, of course, with Mikael Bleekemolen, 2 legendary figures in Benelux Motorsport, sharing that car across EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2. And Tafel will, of course, try and retaliate here, but Mark Goossens is past. What a glowing, though, showcase of how quickly Thomas Tafel has adapted to four-wheel racing, how quickly he's picked this up, that he's still right there attached to the bumper of Mark Goossens. It wasn't an easy overtake for Mark, and Thomas Tafel is staying right there with him. Goossens with a massive resume of single-seater championships, in his early career, and then lots of GT racing thereafter. The fact that Tafel and Miura are keeping up with Goossens is a great showcase of just how far both of these two have come.
Yeah. First of all, I want to say something about Mark Goossens. He's an endurance racing legend, but he also was teamed up with Fernando Alonso in his early days in Formula Racing. I wrote a story a few years ago about Goossens helping Fernando Alonso getting on the radar of the Formula 1 team, so that was an impressive story. Mark Goossens was always there. And Thomas Toffel, I talked to him today and I asked for the secret, and he said, yeah, preparation, having the knowledge about the car from last year. He tested here at Circuit Ricardo Tormo. That's always a big advantage. And he's also spending a lot of time in the simulator to prepare for the racing tracks, to get a little bit the grips of the different corners in a racing car. Even if it's in a virtual world, he's getting more and more used to those type of racing cars and this type of racing. So Thomas Toffel is putting a lot of effort into his preparation, and I think it's paying off right now.
Definitely, you can tell that he is dedicated to this EuroNASCAR project. He has been working very hard to make it happen. Kenko Miura is working hard to try and get through into 6th place, though. And Tafel with a little bit of a lock-up there, leaves the inside open to Kenko Miura. And Miura gets through there. We have a 5-second penalty applied to Dario Casso, meanwhile. 5 seconds applied for track limits. So track limits, once again, a hot button topic here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. We've had a warning for Luca Lasser as well, but a 5-second penalty for track limits to the number 8 car. Dario Casso then with a 5-second penalty, but that won't really affect him because he is some 30 seconds up the road from Ryan Vargas, who continues to limp around to try and get some points on the board. There is Hasemans then, now 2.2 seconds clear of Vittorio Gorelli, so he has massively expanded that gap. And Tobias Dauenhauer, 42.986 last time. Not only is he no longer really challenging Gorelli, but it seems that he's starting to lose time as well, a little bit slower than Gorelli on the previous lap. And just looks like the car isn't quite underneath him right now on lap 11 of 18. I remember back in 2022 at Brands Hatch, it seemed as though Liam Hasemans had a bit more tyre than anyone else at the end of the race. That allowed him to pull off a brilliant overtake for the win on Alberto Nasca back in 2022 in EuroNASCAR 2 to take his first win in the category. And I just wonder again whether maybe that seemingly tyre preservation skill that he appears to have is maybe paying off in this second race. Of course, that's an endurance racing family as well, the Hasemans family. I wonder if Liam just has a bit more Hoosier rubber underneath him than anybody else.
Yeah, that may be the case. And managing the tires is one of the key factors in EuroNASCAR, as you just get one set of tires before qualifying, and they have to last the qualifying session. They have to last 2 races, so it's really important to be careful with the tires, but also manage the risk and also the award you will get when you go a little bit more riskful into a battle. But he's doing a really good job. I have to ask him if he somehow has the feeling that he's really good at tire saving. So maybe this is one of those secrets that Hasemans has when it's coming to, beating his competitors here at the track. And so he's doing a good job. Definitely, we saw that the 50 car is fast already in EuroNASCAR 2 when his teammate Jill Linster won earlier that day. So also the team did a really, really good job in preparing the car, and also the setup can be an advantage if this car is preserving tires while being fast. So you have to get the right balance. You cannot be too slow and just save the tires. You cannot be too aggressive and then the tires are gone. So maybe Hendrick Motorsport just found a sweet spot here with the setup of the car.
Yeah, that might well be the case. We do have a good spot here from our media colleague Razor, who says that Ulysse Delso restarted the race from the pits. He did indeed, and he's all the way up into 8th place now. Again, as we've said, there aren't many more than a dozen cars left running completely unwounded out there, but Delso on for a good recovery drive if he can finish 8th in this race. Also see that Paul Giuffreau is back out there as well, albeit 3 laps down on the leaders. So Giuffreau is running again. They've got that car sorted to some extent, and in fact he's setting pretty strong lap times as well, so that car does look like it's back underneath him. He'll at least score some points. Of course, the drop scores are a factor in this as well, Andre. 10 rounds, 10 races at the start of the season across our first 5 destinations on the EuroNASCAR calendar, and then we get into the playoffs where you don't have any drop scores to work with. That is a bit of a lifeline. I think if you're Sebastian Blakemolen, to sadly pick on an example specifically, you'll be thanking your lucky stars that there are a couple of drops to work with going into the rest of the regular season.
Yeah, but the other problem is that you cannot do any mistake anymore. So you're forced to grab points, collect points in the upcoming races, and we have an oval race there as well. And this is a big question mark regarding the performance and the skills of the drivers. So basically, after a tough weekend here at Circuit Ricardo Tormo, especially also for Paul Giuffreau, you're not allowed to do any more mistake if you want to be part of the title battle in 2024. Of course, the double points at Oschersleben, at Zolder can shuffle the general order a little bit up, but in the end, if you had a bad weekend here at Valencia, you're forced to collect as many points as possible in the rest of the races, and even at Venray you have to be at the front, and this is going to be a tough task for drivers who have no oval racing experience.
Yes, it's going to be about adaptation, isn't it, there? I reckon Ryan Vargas is going to be very popular that weekend.
Yes.
There's going to be a lot of people going, Ryan, how?
But remember, we had Myatt Snyder in the series, never won an oval race. We had Bobby Labonte in the series, never won an oval race. He was at Tour Speedway. Myatt Snyder was at Venray. We had a lot of EuroNASCAR drivers winning the races when US oval experts were here. So I don't think it's a given that Ryan Vargas will be the clear favorite for the race. He's going to be one of the front runners for sure, but beating a guy like, for example, Vittorio Ghirelli on an oval will not be an easy task.
Oh, no. By no means was I implying that in terms of who was going to be at the front, but it's more a matter of if anyone's going to know what specific setup quirks there are.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be Vargas, and of course Team Blakemolen. Oh, Kenko Miura going wide there, the 34 and the 14. Delso and Tofel taking the opportunity then to get past Kenko Miura. Tofel re-inherits 6th position then, and Ulysse Delso now up to 7th place after starting the resumed race from the pit lane. He could be in with a shot of getting past Thomas Tofel. That car looks pretty strong right now, the number 14 Speedhouse car. But yeah, Team Blakemolen will have that advantage since they're assisting 3F Racing with the car this year in Europe. Whether or not maybe we get some setup tips for everybody else at Team Blake Molen's awning from Ryan Vargas. But Ulysse Delso looking very, very strong at the moment in the number 14 car. You see the lock up there from Tefel. He's feeling the pressure. And of course, that's the last thing you want, isn't it? Psychologically, you see that lock up as the driver behind and you go, yeah, okay, I'm in his head. He knows I'm here. He's keeping an eye on those mirrors. And another lock up again into turn 12. At any under rotation, the tyre sends you wide at turn 12, as you saw there from Tefel. Delso looking to the inside, to the outside, any which way he can to get through. He's going to try and set himself up for a good run out of the final corner. Oh, and he certainly gets a better one than Tefel, who was sideways there coming out of the corner. We start lap 15 of this race then with the drivers side by side. And Tefel with the inside line just about covering off the situation at the moment. Not quite sure which direction he was going to go there, inside or outside into the first corner. But he's under a lot of pressure from Delso. Delso again looks to the inside, can't get it done there. Car 74, Kenko Miura has a 5-second penalty now for track limits as well. So he has dropped down a little bit there. But Miura is in the pit lane, so Kenko Miura may have a problem that sent him off wide there earlier on as these two got past him. Delso, though, making life incredibly hard for Thomas Tefel right now. Looks to the inside there. Of course, it'll be 2 to go this time by, since we are running 17 laps. In this race, Andre, you'll be heading down to the victory lane in just a few moments, but we've seen yet more wonderful racing here. At the moment, Ulysse Delso is giving us some great entertainment. Kenko Miura seemingly getting a new tyre on his car, and you can't afford those flat spots. That's why we're seeing some punctures, those flat spots. And this time, Ulysse Delso gets past, or does he? They're still side by side on the run towards turn 12. And there you go, nicely executed by Ulysse Delso. I don't think Tefel is going to have a retaliation to that move. Well, maybe. He's looking still quite close as they run through turn 14. We'll keep an eye on this. But as they go on to the penultimate lap of the race, Andre, there's been drama at the start. There's been a lot going on out there on the circuit. But again, EuroNASCAR delivering in spades here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. And so, through the first corner goes the battle between Delso and Tefel. Tefel trying to find a way back through if he possibly can, but it's not yet happened for him. The 14 car got through at turn 12, as we saw. Well, it started at turn 11 and then moved on to turn 12. So he's gotten through, Delso, and 6th place finish is a great salvage job from him, given he started this one from the pits. Hazeman's then leading the way now by 4 seconds over Garelli. Downhauer is too far back, I think, to challenge Garelli. 2.5 seconds back from the 24 car. Liam Hazeman's gave a pretty bleak prognosis on this race earlier on. He said, yeah, I might be able to get 2nd or 3rd maybe. But Vittorio Garelli, the 24 car, is the one with the pace advantage today. And, well, be that as it may, he has found the speed. He has kept the tyres fresh underneath him. I think that's a key factor here. That car just looks more poised and willing to work with Liam than most of the others around the field. It is Hazeman from Garelli, from Downhauer, your top 3 then. Leclerc, 4th place. Goossens, 5th place. Delso, Tefel, Cresonis, Lanza, and then Dario Casso rounding out the top 10. And a great statistic from Razor, saying Dario Casso on for his first top 10 finish in 90 starts. The Vict Motorsport driver. That will be a big deal for him, I'm sure. Final lap of the race then. The checkered flag will be in the hands of the marshals. Down there at the start-finish gantry to wave at Liam Hazeman's in a few corners' time. Hazeman's just needs to get to the flag now. Lucas Leclerc there in 4th position. Goossens is now clear in 5th place, of course, after getting past Thomas Tefel. And Delso rounding out our top half dozen. But for Hendricks Motorsport, for Liam Hazeman's, this race has gone just about as well as you could imagine. He stayed out of all of the dramas in the first lap of the race. That all kind of went on alongside / behind him. He was on that second row of the grid, of course, with Sebastian Bleekemolen, so he will have been in the firing line of Bleekemolen going sideways across the circuit on lap 1 of the race. And once again, Hazeman's is going to secure a result here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. He likes it here. He won in 2023 in EuroNASCAR Pro right here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo, and he replicates the feat once more in 2024. It is Liam Hazeman's that secures the race victory. Hazeman's wins it then from Garelli in second place. Tobias Downhauer rounds out the podium in P3. Luca Lasser crossed the line for Speedhouse in 4th position. He's just ahead of Mark Goosens, who concludes his first weekend in the 72 in 5th position. And Ulysse Delso with a good advantage now over Thomas Toffel. He will hold on to 6th place. He crosses the line ahead of the Swiss in 7th place. Chrysonis, Lanza and Casso will be your top 10 ahead of Ryan Vargas, who's still limping that very, very damaged car around the circuit. And in fact, Gianmarco Ercoli will move up to 11th place on the final lap of the race. In fact, that's almost certainly already happened. Ercoli was making up some 5 seconds a lap on Vargas. With Vargas's damaged car, Ercoli will have gotten through into 11th on the final lap. But what a race that was for Liam Hazeman's, then our winner here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. Hazeman's got past Garelli, and once he was through, you got the feeling that he wasn't going to let go of that lead. Wondered whether Tobias Downhauer might challenge Garelli and then go Hazeman's hunting, but it proved not to be the case. Now Liam gets to bask in the glow of his victory. Garelli finishing second in this race should still be our championship leader at the conclusion of this first weekend of EuroNASCAR Pro action, but Hazeman's will establish himself as a championship contender, as we're expecting him to be last year as well. Last year the tides turned against him a disproportionate amount, but we expect him to be right up there this year. Last year's junior trophy champion, of course, in EuroNASCAR Pro. And he's very much basking in this race win. Garelli and Downhauer second and third place as well, coasting their way back to the pit lane. Lasser and Goosens rounding out that top 5 as well. I don't think Lasser ended up getting a penalty. He did get some track limits warnings, but I don't think it ever emerged as a penalty. Of course, track limits always difficult here with some of the big runoff areas at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. It will be the number 50 car, though, that pulls up to a very busy victory lane here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. The atmosphere in the paddock this weekend is absolutely sensational. And there is the 50 car. The fans will arrive in a few moments to will him on. I'm sure quite a few are currently walking from the grandstand to the paddock to cheer on Liam Hazeman's as he comes to the top step. You can hear there the conversation between Liam and Andre, and we'll hear from them, of course, live on the air in a few moments' time. But for now, Liam, I think, enjoying the shade that he's pulled up in here by the podium after that hot race in the cockpit of that number 50 car. The service vehicles there heading down the access roads. A few cars being towed through the access roads as well at the end of that race. Only 16 cars took the checkered flag ultimately, and I would say only about 10 of them were actually fully in racing condition. And here comes Liam Hazeman's. Once again, for the second year in a row, he's in victory lane here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. I reckon he likes this place, you know. This is where he debuted, of course, in EuroNASCAR back in 2022. This is where he won in EuroNASCAR Pro in 2023. He's done it again in 24. Liam Hasemans will be a title contender this year. He will have won the junior trophy standings as well, of course. He's got quite a few years left in junior trophy for the under-25s. He's not yet 21 years old, the driver who tends bar in his spare time.
That one was nice, huh?
What a character he is. And he will get the helmet off and speak to Andre.
I was in the leading car, and I went out of the car as a co-pilot, and I just saw the smoke coming up, and I was like, fuck.
See you wigging there a little bit with Andre as they have their discussion. Liam will get the ear defenders out, and then we'll get a conversation, of course, with Liam Hasemans. A really great race for the youngster.
No, yeah.
And Andre, you're down there with him at the moment. I imagine you can feel the heat coming off the boy, because I mean it's so warm in these cars and on this circuit. That will have been a very physical race for him, no?
Yep, he had to put away the stripes for his ears. I saw cars more taped than you, or less taped than you, and they were damaged. But okay, you are back in victory lane here at Valencia like last year. How's it going?
Yeah, awesome job by the team. I mean, you know, already the car was awesome. We saw it with Gil's race. I mean, he finished P1, so with I don't know how much of a gap. And yeah, actually we made some adjustments, and yeah, it turned out to work pretty well. Yeah, unfortunate for the start, but yeah, I mean, I think it was just yeah, driver's mistake, or how you call. But yeah, very happy to be in victory lane. Very cool.
What's up next?
Well, up next Vallelunga, and I hope we can show that we are just as fast, huh? Hopefully.
What about the championship? Do you think about it, or?
Yeah, of course. Well, you know, we have one race we can throw away. So definitely yesterday. I mean, I think yesterday in the race pace we were really fast. Just at the end, yeah, I think, or actually, well, the tire just blew up. How it's possible, we don't know. But yeah, we turned it around for Sunday, so very happy.
You know what's coming next?
Yes, of course.
You have to help me. The wind.
Oh,
there it is already. Yeah, thank you so much. So.
There you go. Let's go.
There we go. The fans arriving down at the podium then to cheer on Liam Hasemans and the rest of our podium finishers. There you see two stickers on the car. Of course, Gil Linster has already added a sticker, a winning sticker from this morning's EuroNASCAR 2 race. That number 50 machine has been in the victory lane twice, I think, as well. The replacement for the Teams Championship, the EuroNASCAR Endurance. That car might not be too far off there as well, although Linster, of course, didn't get the result in EuroNASCAR 2 Race 1, so I don't think actually the 50 car would be a factor in the Endurance Championship that effectively combines all four races and rewards consistency, but we'll see what happens there, who's on top in that. There will be a presentation on the podium for that, as well as many other things. Liam Hasemans doing a bit to camera at the moment for Hendricks Motorsport. He is a very excitable young man, and a great result for him. Fans taking the opportunity to leap on the race winner, get some more autographs in, congratulate the winning driver, Liam Hasemans. A very popular figure in the paddock. He's very bubbly, he's got a lot of energy, the young man. And of course, from a racing dynasty, the Hasemans family, his father Twan, the patriarch of that family, and he is a very, very popular young man. We're just trying to figure out who might win the Endurance Championships first ever event across the four races. You know what, it might end up being Thomas Tuffel, because he was very strong, of course, across all of the races this weekend. It was a brilliant weekend for Tuffel. Of course, we saw him on the overall podium back at Ottersleben last year. you know what? I think that might be his best weekend to date. Ryan Vargas came home with half a car, but we're going to get a chat with him now with Andre.
You came home with half a car. Yeah, that's what I heard right now on the broadcast. So, tell me, what happened out there?
So I thought I was at Talladega for a minute. I mean, the whole field was flying apart. It looked like the big one, really, and it really was. I had nowhere to go. I was in the middle of it. I had a really good start, and I was kind of like in the pack. And once they started flying apart, I was just a ricochet off of everybody, right? So I'm glad everybody's okay from what I heard. But I mean, at the end of the race, we look like a modified. I guess it's fitting that the series is sponsored by Whelen, because the Whelen Modified Tour out in the States. I look like a Whelen Modified today, but our critical path security Chevy was fast. It's not anymore. It was horrible, but we got P12 and I think P3 in the juniors, so I'm happy.
Have you listened to the broadcast in the car? Because I called one of the cars a modified. We called it the big one, and we also made the Whelen reference. So, were you listening to us?
No, I wasn't using you guys, but I just I could tell it from the driver's seat. It looked like a 3D IMAX experience. But no, just glad everybody's okay. Once again, I hope Sebastian's okay. He took a big hit. That was scary seeing him come back into traffic. But again, massive shout out to 3F Racing, Critical Path Security, and all the partners aboard our machine. The team did a phenomenal job getting us back out there.
All right, thank you so much, and yeah, congratulations for our next podium.
Thank you.
Not only did we all make those references, but of course I also explicitly referenced Talladega, which is the first thing that he said as well. Ryan is a very media-savvy young man, and I think that's kind of part of the reason why he's on the same wavelength as me and Andre. He is great for the press, great for the media, and that's why he builds strong relationships, cross-continental relationships with partners like his Critical Path Security sponsor. Vittorio Garelli with a very, very strong weekend as well, but maybe not the race 2 he wanted. He's down there with Andre now.
Vittorio, a strong race, not the win, but still a consistent and solid result for the championship. So tell us, what was going on out there?
Yeah, it was a very tricky race because in the first restart I got hit by the 69 and my front wishbone was a bit like a lot offset. So I held on all the race, but it was really hard to drive, jumping and braking. It was really a struggle, but I managed to keep it. I couldn't keep the P1 because Liam had a very good pace. He was also on very fresh tires because he didn't race yesterday. So yeah, he deserved the win, but the championship is long. We got the red banner and that's what counts. Let's go on for the next one.
I have one question, because from the outside it looked like yesterday you had a really tough start, that you didn't got the launch like the others. Is it just a feeling that I had, or can you confirm that?
No, basically I went on green, but I think the outside line went on red. So yeah, but anyway, we got the win yesterday, so that's what counts. I didn't go to complain because I got the win, but yeah, maybe they have to check the footage better next time. Also in the first restart, actually, it was a bit early, the outside line. But anyway, we did a good weekend. We maximized what we could do. So let's keep the momentum and let's go on for the next one.
Thank you so much. Grazie mille and congratulations.
Cheers, guys.
And of course, the next step on the calendar for Vittorio Garelli and the rest of us here in EuroNASCAR is Vallelunga. That's the circuit that means so much to him. He was so emotional when he took a win there last year. He's a driver, of course, who actually passed his racing license there, from what I understand, so I expect him to be very strong in Vallelunga. Thomas Chrysonis again doing some strong defending. He's with Andre.
Thomas, you want to see the replay of the start, you told me?
Yes, because I think I was this close to losing everything that we worked for this weekend. Like, we escaped without any damage, basically only just a scratch, but it was crazy. I don't know if the guys are okay. You need to tell me if everybody's okay from, top, but I mean, it was crazy. Like, I didn't know. I chose one line to go, I escaped, and that was it. We were lucky, then steady pace to bring it home. Like, half the grid was out. There was no point to destroy the car or anything for 15 people in the circuit. So yeah, we have another top 10. We have another podium in junior trophy. that's it. Full push for Vallelunga. Nothing more to say. Only top 10, top 10, top 10, and go for championships. You know, this is it. We need podiums. We need podiums more.
So I don't need to ask anything here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thomas knocked that one out of the park then. He's, of course, still there doing signatures as well. Again, the drivers in high demand here. The fans have come down from the grandstand to the podium for these ceremonies, which will kick off in the next few minutes. The drivers, if they're not being caught by the fans for pictures, for signatures, they're being caught by Andre Viegold for an interview, and we'll see whether we get any more before the podium ceremony begins. It'll be Liam Hasemans, of course, standing on that top step not once but twice, because he was the winner in Junior Trophy as well. So he will be celebrating on multiple fronts in this race. It's a very, very challenging race for everybody. There are a lot of drivers with damage, a lot of drivers who were struggling with a damaged car. Ryan Vargas, he said, my car was fast, but it wasn't anymore. I think after warm-up this morning, he was very excited about what he could do with that car, but it was torn up from turn 1, lap 1 onwards. And that was the story for a great many drivers. Vittorio Garelli, of course, saying the same. His wishbone may be a bit out of sorts after that moment on the first corner. Sebastian Bleekemolen spinning across the front of Garelli. A difficult weekend for a lot of drivers, a weekend that I think a lot of drivers may end up dropping from their scores at the end of the regular season. After the first 5 events, after the first 10 races of the season, the worst 2 results are dropped. And then, of course, we go to the double points playoffs. Liam Hasemans then with another win here at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. That's his second in at EuroNASCAR Pro. Tobias Downhauer on that podium as well, with Vittorio Garelli in second place. That's a very strong podium. It's also a fairly young podium. I doubt it's the last time we'll see those 3 on the podium as well. Those 3 drivers with big futures ahead of them, I'm sure. Of course, it was over a decade ago now that Vittorio Garelli was racing in Auto GP and securing that championship. He's still a fairly young man, but he's been racing for a long time. And as he said, the most important thing is he's got that red banner. He will be the championship leader. He will be presented with the red banner to put on the windscreen of the car for Vallelunga. Gianmarco Ercoli is going to need to rally as well, of course. He's not had the best of weekends. The number 54 driver, the reigning and defending EuroNASCAR Pro champion. I believe we are now getting to our podium ceremonies, starting off with our overall podium. We'll now see our drivers celebrate for the final time this weekend. Very much enjoy that encrusted glittery USA hat that one of the fans was wearing there that came across screen. And so the overall podium, of course, will be Downhauer in 3rd spot. I think we are just waiting for a couple more things before we get this ceremony underway, but it should be very shortly a podium ceremony. The local announcer there gesticulating to some of the fans. I don't think it will be long before we welcome our drivers up there onto the podium. The fans wait to get a glimpse of their heroes for the final time this weekend. Hendricks Motorsports with a very, very strong weekend. Of course, 3 wins from 4 races, both of the EuroNASCAR 2 wins and this race in EuroNASCAR Pro. The 50 car winning on both occasions today. Here comes Tobias Downhauer then. He's on the third step of the podium. He finishes third overall and starts a very solid first full season for he and promotion. Second on the podium goes to Vittorio Garelli, and the most popular man in the Circuit Ricardo Tormo paddock this weekend, Liam Hasemans, gets a big cheer as he's welcomed on to the top step.
Aplauso para el podio. Don Nicolás Guayano, director del Circuit Ricardo Tormo, entregará el trofeo al tercer.
There we go. The Dutch national anthem playing out on a podium. Who would have ever imagined that? Liam Hasemans, following maybe in the footsteps of another national colleague of his, taking the top step of the podium. Vittorio Garelli accepting the bottle of Pinot Guerin there and receiving plaudits. And look at that trophy, that's a big one there for Liam Hasemans. He wins on Sunday here in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. I believe that was the president of the Spanish Automobile Federation that presented the big trophy to Hasemans. Vittorio there passing some observations over to his colleague, and now begins the mad rush to get the corks out of the bottle. Anyone need a shower? Well, here comes the champagne. Liam Hasemans has probably sprayed more champagne than any of his mates at the tender age of 20. He's been on a great many of these podiums so far in his career. Look at the fans. They have come in abundance to celebrate this win. What a great atmosphere this is at the Circuit Ricardo Tormo. Everyone delighted to see the winners. Everyone delighted to be so close to the winning car as well. Circuit Ricardo Tormo in its 25th year, of course. The faithful here at this circuit have been treated to a great many awesome moments on two wheels and four. There is Vittorio Garelli. He receives from Chad Siegler the leader of the championship banner, the red banner, indicating that he is our championship leader now, going into his home circuit, going into Vallelunga. If anybody is going to be up there and fighting in Vallelunga, it's going to be Vittorio Garelli. And of course, the PK Car Sport outfit behind him, the number 24 car that's won championships for more than one driver previously. And now the TJ titanium jewelry piece presented, the titanium ring presented. He is the best driver of the weekend. That is what that signifies, the fastest driver of the event in this weekend of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Oh, what a throw. That was a good catch as well. Good throw, good catch. All parties doing a good job there. Great job then from Vittorio Garelli. His podium duties are complete. But now we focus on the Endurance Championship, new for 2024, replacing the Teams Championship. The results of the cars across all 4 races are combined into effectively one long endurance race. Third place in the classification across the 4 races, Mark Goossens and Mikael Bleekemolen. Second place, Luca Leclerc and Florian Richard. Don't know if Luca is there. There he is. He comes to the second step of the podium, and they're having a chat with Mark Goossens. And then at the top, it is Thomas Tuffel. All on his own, of course, racing in all 4 races. His stamina will have been tested across the last 24 hours. And he has taken the win in the first ever endurance classification across all 4 EuroNASCAR races. As I've said, this will replace the Teams Championship, so this is a new initiative. Here's the 34 Race Art Technology machine at the top this time around. Tuffel receives the big trophy then for winning, having a really strong weekend in both EuroNASCAR 2 and the EuroNASCAR Pro this weekend. This is not his last top step either. He'll be on the top step in the Challenger Trophy podium also. A couple of more podiums left to cover. The Junior Trophy podium will be up next once these guys vacate. Thomas having a chat there. He's got one more pot to pick up. Oh. In fact, I think Thomas might be being told to stay up there. Aha. Okay, the rest of the team want to come up and say hello. There you go. Thomas and team for Race Art Technology up on the podium. And Tuffel will be back up there in a few moments' time for the final podium. But it is a team effort, of course, in that endurance classification across the 4 races, and his car didn't miss a beat all weekend. There weren't many cars that didn't have some sort of problem across the weekend, be it through getting involved in incidents or there are a lot of punctures. I think flat spots were a big factor as well. Of course, we saw Tuffel locking up a little bit towards the end of this EuroNASCAR Pro race that just completed, but a near flawless weekend for him. Top 10 results in both EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2. And if he continues to improve as he has done over the winter, he could be fighting for wins consistently in EuroNASCAR 2 towards the end of the year. Ryan Vargas to the 3rd step of the podium in Junior Trophy. 2nd place to Thomas Krasonis. And your overall race winner, Liam Hazeman's back to the top step of the podium as well. And I think he may have given his cap away. He's after another one now. Ryan Vargas on the 3rd step of the podium. Then a great result for 3F Racing and Critical Path Security, given just how wounded that car was towards the end of the race. And he and the team will rally going into the 2nd weekend at Vallelunga. We're going to see some strong results out of Ryan before year's end for sure. There is Liam Hazeman then centre stage once more, winning in the Junior Trophy, the reigning Junior Trophy champion. And he's certainly the favourite for that championship this year. Will anyone be able to challenge him on that front? I'm not sure. He's certainly going to be focusing, of course, on that overall title battle as well in 2024. He was EuroNASCAR 2 champ in 22, Junior Trophy champ in 23. He'd very much like to continue up the ladder in that manner. His first ever top 10 finish in 90 EuroNASCAR starts, Dario Casso to the 3rd step of the Challenger Trophy podium. 2nd step going to Max Lanza and family. And the top step, Thomas Tuffel comes once again to the podium. Casso and Lanza congratulate their colleague. And that will be our final podium of the weekend. The presentations being made. Thomas Tuffel. On our final podium then of the day. And that concludes the festivities down there on the race victory lane. The fans will now head back up there to watch some of the support races and then start to make their way home, thoroughly satisfied with an exciting weekend of EuroNASCAR action. The season has begun then with a lot of drama. Race 2 of the EuroNASCAR Pro season was one laden with it, and we can now take a little bit of a look back to the race that was in EuroNASCAR Pro. Of course, it kicked off again with a poor start for Vittorio Garelli, but Blake Molen would get spun across his front, and then everyone else took evasive action. Lots and lots of cars damaged. Ciortis' car was torn up. Dubek's, Ryan Vargas, Patrick Lemarie, Fabrizio Armetta. Vargas, the only one of those names that actually continued on in the race after that point. We got a red flag and then a resumption of racing. All drivers okay in that big collision. And it was Tobias Downhauer versus Vittorio Garelli side by side into the first corner. And Garelli would hold off the young German. And then Liam Hazemans would sneak through into second place. Lucas Lasserre there, putting a pretty authoritative move on there. Paul Dufresne. Dufresne knocked down a few places as a result of that, and I think his car never quite the same thereafter. And Gianmarco Ercoli ending up going into the pit lane. Ercoli with damage. His race would conclude in 11th position, but this was Liam Hazemans. He closed in on Garelli, made the move at turn 1. Had to continue fighting the Italian through the second corner, but this proved to be the definitive move of the race. Got to the inside and moved through for what would ultimately be the race win. Mark Goosens had to wait behind Thomas Tuffel for a little while to see if and when he could get through, and finally, going into turn 2, he got the inside line, got past Tuffel, and ultimately had a very strong race in the Blake Molen 72 car. Tuffel would lock up in front of Kenko Miura. Miura would get past him for what was 6th position. However, towards the end of the race, Miura would not only make a mistake here in front of Tuffel and Delso, but also end up in the pit lane with a problem. That car limping home, as so many were at the end of the race. Ulysse Delso was making life very hard for Thomas Tuffel, and Tuffel stepping out a bit sideways there. Meanwhile, at the front, there were no dramas for Liam Hazemans. A perfectly executed race would bring him his first victory of 2024. A statement of intent for the races to come from the young Dutchman. One apiece for Garelli and Hazemans coming out of the first weekend. It will be Garelli that leads the championship, but Liam Hazemans among those making sure that the Italian knows he's got competition for the 2024 EuroNASCAR Pro title. Of course, our reigning and defending champion with a poor weekend here at Circuit Ricardo Tormo, but he will rally at his home venue, Vallelunga, which is our second destination on the calendar. There will be more celebrations, there will be more action, and more wonderful EuroNASCAR racing to come when the calendar arrives to Vallelunga in a few weeks' time, the 18th and 19th of May, hosting rounds 3 and 4 of the season. Make sure you join us for all of the action from EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2 on our second destination of the 2024 calendar.